So, Evan Perez, the saga of the Boston Marathon bombing keeps rolling out, and it's fascinating in a lot of ways. But I think the question a lot of people are wondering about and wanting to make sure that they have answered correctly is, was this really just homegrown terrorism or not? And at this point, do we actually know the answer to that question?
No, I think we really can't say for certain. I mean, I think the FBI and Homeland Security and CIA are all searching very as much as they can to find any links that they can find with militant groups overseas or perhaps even here. And so far, everything indicates that this is just a couple of guys who decided to do this after being radicalized here in the United States. They were motivated by jihadist sentiment, hatred of the U.S., religious hatred of the U.S., according to the younger brother, Tsarnaev, who's been interrogated by the FBI. So at this point, everything points to something that was born here, that was essentially made here.
And
But you can make a bomb. How did they figure out how to make a bomb if they didn't have some sort of instruction?
Well, I mean, the instructions to make bomb like this, it's been in libraries for decades. You know, the anarchist cookbook, for example, has been in libraries since the 70s. And you know, one of the recipes that's been very popular on the internet is one that was in an Al Qaeda magazine called Inspire, which has been very popular with a lot of jihadis in the U.S. in Western countries in particular. And so this is one thing that has come up in the interrogations. Tsarnaev has said that they were familiar with Inspire, that at least the recipe partially came from there. And so we know that, you know, the recipe is very simple. It's step by step. You can get the ingredients at any gun store. Perhaps fireworks could be used to make the explosives. And, you know, it's a very simple thing to pack into pressure cookers. And you can, you know, kill a lot of people.
I know there's all this concern, you know, about whether, like, ties from abroad, and obviously, you know, we don't want people coming into the U.S. from foreign countries, but to me it's almost scarier to think that these were just like two guys who were sitting in their living room who became radicalized in the U.S. and looked up a bomb recipe on the internet, and, you know, unlike a lot of terrorist attempts that we've seen, were actually smart enough and competent enough to be able to pull all of this off.
Right, that's the scary part here, because a lot of the focus since 9/11 of our security services, billions of dollars has been spent on trying to prevent Al Qaeda and other groups overseas from doing another 9/11. This is so much harder to find, so much harder to prevent. And as you said, Sarah, I mean, you know, you have a lot of these guys that have tried this before, and they've been
and they usually blow it. I mean,
and
right?
they blow it. They've used the wrong things, or they were, you know, caught by tripwires and so on. This is so much harder to
But the political issue that's still going to linger after we've resolved lots of these other questions is whether the FBI did a good job or not a good job in tracing this down. That's the political hot potato here, right?
Right. I mean, this is what happens after every one of these types of things, and you know, I think there is still some very good questions to be asked of the FBI. The Russian government, the Russian security services, tells them in 2011 about Tamerlan Tsarnaev and about concerns that he's dealing and meeting up with radicals. They go and they interview him. They look at him for about 3 months, and then they close their case. They tell the Russians, "Look, we can't find anything." He appears to be very cooperative, and they close the case, and everything's done. The Russians come back and ask the CIA to check it out. The CIA goes to the FBI and says, you know, this is your territory. And the FBI goes back to the Russians a couple times and says, you know, let us know if there's more, but we've checked this out. And it does appear that part of the issue here is communication between Russia and the United States. As you know, relations have not always been smooth, and in the last few years, there's a lot of suspicion that the Russians and the FBI, between the Russians and the FBI, about what they're up to. So some of that might have played a role here.